Hello, today we're going to talk about my 3 favourite games.
Okay.
Let's start with Helldivers 2.
Launch initiated.
Helldivers 2 has seen remarkable success since its release on February 8, 2024. Now in 2026, Helldivers 2 has sold at least 19 million copies, with 2.8 million copies on Steam, and with 8.4 million copies on the PS5, and the Xbox Series X combined. Helldivers 2 was generally well received by the gaming community, and even now in 2026, the game still has a reasonably high player count of 30 to 40,000 people of the time I'm making this video right now. Some of the highest numbers Helldivers saw was roughly 500,000 players at the same time. These numbers were being seen after the release of Helldivers onto the Xbox. Now let's talk about the game. To do this, I'm going to talk about 4 major points of the game, and why those major points make the game so good in my eyes. Now, to really get the understanding of the lore, we would really need to go back to Helldivers 1, but to be honest with you, I'm just kind of trying to keep it to Helldivers 2 and what's going on in that game. So we'll keep this to more of a basic run over of it all. So let's start with Super Earth, or basically the force of humanity in this game. Super Earth believes in something called managed democracy, which is like normal democracy, but you put all your votes into a computer, and then the computer filters it through, which is basically the government picks and chooses what they want to hear from the people. It's filled with tons of propaganda and other stuff to basically keep everyone on the entire planet, and all the other planets inside their system, kind of believing the narrative that they sort of put together for everybody. Propaganda they make is totally jokes about in the community, and it's really funny hearing people go "full managed democracy" over their headset and then explode it. Now let's talk about the enemies. Let's start with the Terminids, otherwise known as the Bugs. The Terminids are like a giant army of alien bug monsters that are heavily inspired off of Starship Troopers. In the early stages of a Terminid's life, they start off as some kind of spore-like substance, and when breathed in can be incredibly toxic for a human being, for a number of reasons, but the biggest one is that the Terminids don't begin to grow inside of your lungs, which provides a good amount of food and basically the perfect place for baby Terminids to grow up big and strong, which kind of inevitably makes them an enemy of Super Earth. Now, onto the automatons, otherwise known as the bots. Now, there's a lot of speculation about where the automatons actually came from, but the running theory is that they actually come from, or were made by, the cyborgs on Cyberstan from Helldivers 1, who were trying to get independence from Super Earth. So maybe that's what the bots really want, but we just found them and they were hostile, so we shot them, and that's kind of how it went down. As for what the bots really are in-game, they're basically just a bunch of robots that are inspired off of Terminator, and it is cool and really fun. When you fight them, it feels like you're in a proper war zone as you see all the Star Wars-esque lasers fly across your screen. Now on to the third and final enemy faction of Helldivers 2, the Illuminates, otherwise known as the Squids. Illuminates were basically a giant, peaceful, intergalactic alien vibe thing going on before meeting Super Earth. They basically looked over humanity and saw the rapid rate they were growing, and they were like, hey, wanna be friends? Super Earth was kind of giving them like a yeah, maybe vibe until we discovered that they have planet-destroying technology. And of course they're going to use it on us at some point, so we went to war with them. And they got absolutely smashed. Weirdly enough, throughout the entire duration of the First Galactic War, they never seemed to ever use some planet-destroying technology. How interesting. They later made a comeback in the Second Galactic War and started taking citizens to turn them into zombie-like creatures called the Voteless, which in-game can get quite annoying when you're just trying to run away and they keep coming after you, and you just can't seem to ever get to the end of their endless hordes. The Illuminate in-game are really just like giant War of the World kind of vibes in the actual game, but instead of turning people into this weird flesh goop stuff, they turn them into zombies instead. Section 2, Art and Audio Style. When it comes to the art style of Helldivers 2, it's not that extravagant or crazy or unique in a way. It's mainly based off of reality, which to be honest is something I quite enjoy, just being able to see everything really clearly and it's not some pixel platformer or a 2D kind of game. I just like the simple nature of it. Although there is something that I really enjoy about it, and that's when you take lots of damage, the game gets more saturated, which is something I haven't seen across a lot of games, but I think it's a really good element to bring into this one. Now let's talk about the audio. The audio of Helldivers 2, when it comes to firing your gun, rifle, or all the other kind of stuff in that you tend to get, isn't really too special. But the music, oh, the music is incredible. I think that we could probably agree that Helldivers 2 has very good vibes. Section 3. Game mechanics. First of all, just want to say I think the button placement of a lot of the mechanics of Helldivers is perfect. A lot of games also do very similar things in the same places as well, but I think it's a good place to put the things. You know, I think it's really good. Just the basics, you know, such as L3 to move, R3 to turn your camera, R2 to shoot, and L2 to aim. Oh, and double tap circle to dive is another thing that's kind of unique to it, actually. I am glad they're in these familiar places, though. I just think it's a good place to put them. None of that is necessarily unique to Helldivers, and Helldivers does have some really good, unique mechanics. I think the first one that I'm going to address is how you call in a stratagem in the game.
No. Wait.
Beautiful. For anyone who didn't know, that's what democracy looks like. Basically, stratagems make use of the controller's keypad to allow you to call in the stratagem. These stratagems can range from different guns for you to even tactical nukes like the one you've just witnessed. Another mechanic this game employs really well is friendly fire, which also means your stratagems can kill your friends. And when you're playing the right sort of people, these events can be incredibly funny. The thing that would be worth to mention is talking about the objectives that you can find inside the game, such as trying to fill up a car with some fuel, or just other random things. There's quite a few, and it always keeps the game interesting if they keep adding new ones depending on the scenarios in the actual war. And the biggest and most worth to mention one is that the entire game is based around a galactic map, and everyone who plays does some sort of form of influence to the actual game and the war front that everyone's trying to go through. Which I think is so cool that everyone's influence actually impacts the game. Section 4. Technology. When I talk about stuff like technology, I'm already talking about stuff like how gravity works in the game and stuff that isn't real and is real. But this game's really based on reality, and it's pretty believable. So I really don't think there's much to talk about here. It's just entirely based off reality. There's not much about the game that's kind of based for game reasons. I mean, if I shoot my friend, he's going to die, and that goes through to the game. If I throw a bomb near somebody, they're going to explode. It's just kind of how it's rocking. So yeah, basically, technology for Helldivers is just kind of based on reality. I don't really know what else to say. So, final thoughts. Helldivers is an absolute 10 out of 10. For what it's trying to achieve, I think it does it absolutely perfectly. A multiplayer shooter that you can play with your friends. I think it's incredible. I love playing with my friends on this game. Heck, it's brilliant. And even when the game does fail to keep up the realism, it's still really just funny. It's all about shits and giggles, and it's so fun.
It's all shits and giggles till someone giggles and shits.
Even playing solo when there are no friends to keep you distracted or laughing, the game is still really fun because you can think about how to best interact with the problem in front of you. You could go in guns blazing, or you could go in stealthy, and you can still do that with your friends. You can still do that with complete strangers, and it's so good. Helldivers 2 is definitely one of my most favourite games of all time for its multiplayer functions and just how the game runs and plays in general, even if it isn't perfect all the time. It's just funny and fun and a good time. I love the game. my most favourite things is that the entire community is all going for the same goal. Instead of trying to competitively beat each other up, you're trying to lift each other up to all complete the big objective. And I think it's so cool that instead of trying to get everyone to fight each other for competitive gameplay, the gameplay comes through cooperative teamwork and trying to work as a team, which I think is amazing and really fun to just play with people. So yeah, that was part 1 of 3 of my 3 favourite games. Thanks for listening.
Cringe.